All right, I'm back. And we're going to tear into this thing. I know, I already tore one apart. All this may be for naught because I may get this together and go, I don't like the way that looks. But what I'm going to try to do is create maybe not a better looking, but a different LingL, right? We're going to put the green, we're actually going to take all the LingL stuff and put on the green frame and create, I haven't really thought of a name, but the GringL, the green machine, the green dragon. Anyway, prepare to be stunned or appalled. I haven't figured out which yet. So I've torn this reel apart, and I'll show you the hardest part about this was, and because I don't think it's supposed to be glued, but it was glued. I didn't break anything, but this top plate was glued on. You can see it's got all these little tabs, and I've mentioned this in one other video that my LingL had a little squeaky noise, and I think it's because this piece isn't glued on mine, and I guess they did on some of these. Maybe they did on all of these turquoise fox that is green, nowhere near turquoise. But that is the only part that like has to come off the frame because I'm going to put the silver one on. So I've got that completely disassembled. It might be a chore getting this one off. Hopefully it's not glued. It'll pop right off. But I'll show you on mine. I got a couple things to show you real quick before we get started. This is the original one of mine. And I want to show you if you can make it out. And that's why I chose to leave it alone. Because some of you may think that you also like this, right? It's got that like marbly looking Zion stuff going on. And I noticed that this one, and I don't know if it'll come in good in the pics or not, but compared to this one's more of a black. I don't know if you can make it out. Yeah, that looks in person also, that nose piece especially, just almost looks black. But like out of the two, just looking at them, I like the framing, the coloring better on the original one that I got. So it's staying the same. It's more of my, and I know I'm going to trigger everybody, power BFS reel. It's on the Tatula. The green one will be getting the lighter spool with the Roro bearings that is basically off the new one. Now what I wanted to do, and I probably will do, but I want to double check as I tear into this other reel, is I wanted to try to keep all of the guts that make up the LingL other than the spool, right? And put them in what's going to be the silver fox with 15-pound tests, throwing chatterbaits and all that, and you'll basically be able to get a true durability of the internal guts of your LingL reels, minus a shallow spool kind of thing, which we're kind of doing. If you guys haven't been following the channel, the MK9 is basically one of these variants also. So I very easily could have tried to turn this into the MK GringL something or another. Not today. But I wanted to see, and I'm going to double check the drag, because it's a possibility I haven't done all the reading up on these, how much drag force this has compared to that. I'm guessing they've just made them all the same, but we're going to double check that as I tear into this. So without further ado, let's tear into one. In case, and I would have torn them both apart, but in case some of you guys just don't know, you've never witnessed it, I'm showing you now. So here's all the parts out of the turquoise fox. You guys know this deal, right? Get you a piece of plastic over a 10mm wrench that you stole from your neighbor or your mechanic buddy. Helps keep those from getting chewed up. Now we do have a different, and let me get this torn apart and then we'll talk about the differences. It's easier instead of me stopping along the way. I may mention it, but then we'll talk about it more after I get this one disassembled. Because this one has the stars look very close, but they are different stars. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm going to be putting all of this stuff back on that one. So you got to keep track of what you got going on. Whenever you're doing this mix and match stuff, you got to keep track of what's what and know where it's going. So all of this stuff right here will have to go back onto this side plate. And I guess, heck with it. I guess I'll talk about it now. I've talked about it before in a video that the LingL with this drag star, you got to have the two drag, I don't know, cone, whatever, create the pressure. They have to be facing the same way in order for the spacing to work. Not so much with this one. This one, they were actually spaced the right way, but then they didn't have a, and I think I got these wrong. Yeah, these I should have turned the other way. In my mind, I don't know why I had them on like that. Or have I not torn this? I may not have taken this reel apart yet. But that other reel didn't have this on it. And I'm not sure exactly why. Didn't seem to bother it, but it didn't. What?
You're not here to say hi?
Yeah, we're doing a live tear down, put back together. Do you see what I'm doing here?
No.
You don't care. No, don't care. He's an RC racer now.
Professional, by the way.
Professional.
Sponsored by,
You ain't sponsored yet. You're sponsored by Mom and Dad. That don't count. Sorry for the table shakes, but sometimes you got to put pressure here and there. And so far, all of these screws, except for that sucker there. Wait a minute. What'd they do to me? I'm going to say all these screws are the same size. They are on every other reel. Look at that. They shortchanged me. They gave me a short screw up there on top. That'll go in the Silver Fox. Don't worry. All the good stuff's going in this reel. But I thought these are all supposed to be the same size. We've been having people asking me, why are those different lengths? That's one of the issues with anything you get through like AliExpress. You know, Chinese are known to have a little, you know, their quality control is definitely not as good as the JDM made stuff, right? So evidently we've got a few screw tolerance issues right already off this new LingL. And I will tell you that the second one I got does not seem. Oh, that's the big difference. That's right. So I'm going to have to use these because I want to go light. That's got brass gears. Now, you could put brass gears if you guys want a LingL with brass gears. There you go. I didn't even pay attention. Have we torn apart the MK9? I don't even know. So we'll double check the drag stuff, but I'm going to stick with my lightweight BFS reel. I want to have for sure the lightest weight. So we won't be able to test the durability on aluminum gears. Sorry, folks. I'm refuse to fish BFS with brass gears. Well, unless I have to. So this whole side plate, we're just going to slap on that other one. But I just want to double check. And that is probably where we got a little bit different sound in the clicker. If you guys remember on the unboxing video. So just to double check. I'm going to keep all this stuff together because I like the way it was sounding and working and all that. But we're going to take apart. Yeah, so it's the same thing. The drag, pressure, all that's going to be the same. But all this will go. And for whatever reason, they do use different grease. I don't know. I've found that all of my other reels have had this white grease. It's kind of like the white grease I use that Ardent reel butter or whatever they call it is white, and that's what these seem to come. Probably not Ardent, but well, it could be Ardent. That could be where Ardent buys theirs from. But the turquoise Fox had this bluish green grease on it. Definitely a different grease. So we're gonna always change all this stuff. So all this will go. And so far, everything I'm looking at is exactly the same as far as how it's made up. It will interchange. So all of that is going on that reel. So the only thing, we're already that far down to where all I got to do is get this cover popped off, put it on that one. And I have to see if I need to glue it or what. I'm hoping I don't have to. Just kind of seeing here. They do have the exact same line guide. I was looking at that too. If that would have been colored different, like the MK9 is different. It's just like I don't even know what you call that. Ceramic, and these are the you know, like brass or whatever material that is, titanium coated, whatever, they are the same. So I don't have to tear into that far. And just by the feel of them, and looking at it, I think those components are the same, and there should be a bearing right here, but there's not on the other side. There's no way to put a bearing on those either. Let me check that. That seems pretty free, doesn't it? That doesn't, does it? Hang on. We got extra weight, though. It does have that on it. Now that could be the grease possibly catching more. This one's definitely drier looking. This one's like coated. See that grease in there. Spins real free, but it doesn't spin this free. Look at, wow. I don't think I've ever seen one spin that free. You're definitely looking at 2 free bearings and probably just a coating, a very thin sliming coating, not much grease at all. You guys ever seen one take off like that? I don't think I've ever seen one that free. But this one's smooth, it's just not free. I think it's just because it, look at the difference in, you can kind of see the grease oozing in there. I think that's the difference. But honestly, you don't want all that. Here's my take on that, is because it's out in the open and stuff will just stick to that once you get out and using it. I like to, that outer, what I call the tube, I like to actually put a thin coat of like oil, rub it around, and then wipe it down some to where, not clean it, but then wipe a lot of that grease off, so it's not like sticky, to where it's going to be slick, but it's not, nothing's going to stick to that. It'll help from getting them jacked up. So anyway, we're probably just going to slap it together though, because we're on a time limit. We're already 12 minutes in and I need to get this sucker apart and together. So for now, we're leaving that alone. We're going to assume that it does have the bearing, because it does seem pretty free. It doesn't seem this free. That was crazy. So the only thing I've seen that actually holds this, other than a few keepers, there's one screw on this side. You could actually access that by taking off the side plate. You don't have to tear into the whole reel. When you take the side cover off to get into your spool, that screw, you can see it. So I'm guessing if the way this is supposed to work, and we'll try this one if it's not glued, you take that off, and then if I can get my nail in there, because there's 4 spots. That screw I took out, there's one little tab right there, one tab right there. There are actually 5. There's one right there, and then underneath, get the line guide out of the way. Well, it'll be hard for you guys to see. Right up in there, from the underside, see right up in there, there's another little, like a tab. And that is what I was trying to pop off, but I think it was because it was glued. It was just not happening. Took me forever. So give me a minute here. This is definitely something I want to be careful with. All I did was popped it up. You don't want to get too crazy. Yeah, this one's popping up easy. Pop up the side. Pop up over here. Come on. Well, that side is sticking that I took the screw out of. Let me see. The other one popped up. It's so thin, it may be stronger than it looks, but it just doesn't give me a lot of confidence in it being very strong. Well, come on. Side pop back on. I don't know why. It won't pop up. There we go. Just like that. I was being real careful, but... So that one was not glued on. We'll have to see if it pops back in. And part of me wonders why they didn't leave that off and, you know, not do all the cutouts. Because it doesn't strengthen it at all. If they'd have just left this like this and, you know, without this stuff cut out, maybe your hand rode too low down on the spool. I don't know, but I think would have had a little lower overall setting. Not that this adds a lot, but it does add a little bit. Oh well, their design, we'll stick with what they're doing. So now we're going to take this. This is off the... We're going to take the old LingL. They definitely, the nose piece seems to be made out of the same material, but for whatever reason it's a little darker on that one. I'm going to see if this will just pop on and without gluing it. So this will get us our first look at what the colors will look like together. It should just pop on. Pop on like that. Put the little screw back in, which this little screw actually was screwed into the other. Either one. There should be the same. Let's get this video wrapped up. I'm not going to put the other one together. I'm going to just get one together, the GringL here together, so we can see what's going on with it. Remember, right, I want to stick with these parts on it. It definitely, and if you guys haven't watched the first one, the LingLs, I guess, are being, I'm sure they're made at the same exact place, but I guess they're being, maybe assembled or something to where the grease is different, but they definitely don't seem to be greasing these LingLs as well as they should be. So I would just suggest if you buy a LingL, be ready to take it apart and add grease. Make sure that little washer. If you're putting these back together, there should be that piece just like that, and then the one under that. And I didn't disassemble the other stuff, but there's basically several stacks. I'll show you on this other one before I put it back together. Yeah, that drag clicker sounds better than... Okay, so we got that back together. Let me show you this before I go any further, just so you'll know if you're tearing into one, you're trying to use this video on how to go back together. The other one's the same way. You basically start with your gear, then there's one of these, a little bigger around, then there's this flat, just plain plate, then another one of those, then the bottom part of your clicker, and it does not matter which way. I mean, one side is a little flatter. I would put it down, I guess, and the other side, you know, the way it was like pressed. This was the bottom, and I would just put it, I think how they were doing it, down. Then goes another one, smaller, to let the clicker fit around it. Then your clicker part, and then the top plate to the clicker. So that's how that goes together. Okay, so we're to here. Now all we got to do is put this on. Ooh, what will it look like? Now this is just like a Daiwa. You're going to have to get that matched up and then get that little... Now you could take that out if you wanted to. Let's just take a quick... Ooh, what do you guys think? I think that's going to look bad. A to the double S, right? I gotta watch what I say on here. I get all my videos like doing stupid stuff. Oh, I left the screw in there. So yeah, this was the LingL that's got the weird screws, but get out of there. I want you out because I'm going to put the other screws in the frame that they came in. Come on. Not that it probably matters. You gotta be kidding me. What is holding that screw in? You have to be kidding me. What was holding that screw? So I'm going to put these back in because they were all the same and they go into this frame. So we're going to stick with what we know. So hang on. Let's get it together and see what it feels like and what it looks like. See what it looks like. Sorry about the shake. From the minute I saw the turquoise fox, I'm like, you know, I bet that would look freaking good if you combine, you know, why didn't they do it? Why didn't this reel I'm putting together right now, why wasn't it a thing? Why didn't somebody put it out? Instead of, and not trying to knock you guys if you've got one of these with all black, but it's just, I think a solid black instead of that, because the green's almost too dark to go with black. It's almost a metallic-y look. I think it's going to look brighter with this silver. Okay. Wow. That thing, it looks, I got to get it all the way together, but it almost looks better than I thought it was going to look. It looks pretty nice. I like it. So we're going to go back with... And all the shaft, everything else seems and looks the same. So we're going to go back. We've got to put it together this way, though, because the tolerances for this star are different. And this had a little washer in here, and then the star. Hang on. Now what would be real cool is if I could get... I think the only way to do it to get this style of braking is to get one anodized. But if I had a gold spool now, oh man, oh my goodness. They make one, but I'm not sure if it still has the FTB imitation brake stuff on it. I've seen a gold one on a different version. Hang on, we're almost there. I'm gonna get it the rest way together. We'll get a pick, or we'll get like a picture moment. I'll hold it up for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble it all the way. I'll probably have to wipe it down because sure it's got some great. Oh boy, I've got chatterbaits back in here. I was gonna talk real quick about those too if I got time. I'm gonna try to keep this under a half hour. What I'm gonna try to do is start keeping these videos to within a half hour. That way later on, just to, and I'll be honest, to help me out. This is, I need to get a better gold one, but this is one I made for now. It's an Abu Garcia one. It works, does the job, but it looks a little funky. And this table is way out of whack, but I didn't have time to fix it. Okay, so we got all that back together. Hang on. We'll stick our spool in with our camo line. Give me a second here. Oh boy, come on. Every time. Nothing wants to go in straight. Side plate, roller bearings. And there she is. What do you guys think? I don't know if I have the best lighting, but I'm telling you right now, I like this better than this. I still like this. It's good looking reel, but I just, man, that definitely looks awesome. Way better. I can't really say, yeah, I don't know. It looks good right there, but I'd say it looks better in person once you're looking at it. Now I've got lighting down here, but I don't really have the greatest. I'm hoping out in the sun it even looks better, but man, it looks killer with that camo, with that other green. Now I was gonna take, because I technically could either use, I could use any of this green that I wanted to. It will fit. You know, it's a chore, kind of like the top plate. I gotta like pop that off, but I could add green there, and I don't know if I want to mess with that. I think it looks good just like that. And some of you may think it'd look better if I had the gold, you know, the stock handle back on. But that is a good, see how it's got all the green under? That just looks good. This is what they should come out with. The place that makes these is making all of this. Slap it together in this and maybe, I don't know, add a green, I don't know, something else a little bit, and wow. Do it. Do it. Let me wipe it down real quick. Hang on. Let me wipe it off. I'm sure it's got some grease. Let me wipe my hands off too. But yeah, definitely an improvement. So if you don't have a purpose for another one, it costs you $150 roughly to get that. But for the 75 on this guy, I've got a use for him also. So this is going on one of my, you know, let me just grab a rod right off the bat. Not for sure that it'll go on it, but it kind of matches up with it now a little bit, I guess, more than it did. You've seen the LingL on the Toma and all that, but then this rod, now it's not the same color green, but see that is just a green color. So it would look good on this rod too. Kind of I don't know. I like it. They're definitely about the same capabilities. This is a very good rod for light stuff, and that spool. Let me check that. Yeah, I need to get a good pic of this and then put it on the header of this video, but you will be seeing this reel pop up in more videos for sure. May have to change the rod. Let me grab one more. Because if you follow the channel, this LingL's going on the Tatula. This one was intended for this rod, and it still, I guess, goes right with it. If I didn't have all this stuff apart, I'd get that white stuff out of the way where you could take a look on this with like a black background, but it'll be coming up in a lot more videos. I don't know, guys. I really like it. And it just brightened up the whole reel. This reel looks like a brighter reel on top of what like this, you know, because just the black. Not that this was a bad looking reel. Still looks good. I don't plan on changing this one. But that is definitely something I will be leaving 100%. Even, you know, I don't know. Definitely leaving this together. I thought there was a slight chance. I'm like, that may come out ugly. But that looks very good. Looks better than that one. I don't know. You guys comment. Let me know. You still like the stock LingL, or you think this is a better upgrade? And I guess it doesn't really matter what rod you put it on. The silvery stuff matches up with any kind of rod with silver on it and enough gold. Oh, I got the lines getting jacked up. I was wondering what that sound was. So anyway, I'm going to keep this video short. Possibility I'll come back tonight in another video, and if I get this guy back together, I will show you real quick, just a quick mock-up. Let's do that. I'm just going to pop this on. Hopefully I don't have to. I don't know why they glued it. It's on. I mean, it's on. It's not going anywhere. I don't think they realized they didn't have to. Whoever puts these together probably just didn't realize it didn't need to be glued, and they had a little bit of glue on it. Just enough to scare me to get it popped off without frying it. So let's just, oh boy, come on. Let's pop this guy together so you guys can take a quick look. Where is the side plate? So we got, oh yeah, I did weigh up the spools. The MK9, and that's out of the same spool, but this one is just ever so, like, barely lighter, like not even point, you know, like oh shoot, not even by like 0.1. It's barely lighter. And actually, so they do interchange. You could actually just slap that spool right in there. They are the same spool. So anyway, you get this guy, which if these are like black, this probably looks more like a Steez than any of them. Wouldn't you guys agree? I'll go ahead and stick the stock spool in it just so we can get a look at it with the spool in it. So basically, and what I was gonna talk about this one. This is that one that's got the clicker built in to the. So it uses the typical Daiwa type stuff. So anyway, just for mock-up purposes, we'll slap that on there. I don't like this handle. As I get out of here, if you order one of these reels and you're just wanting it for like the reel that it is, and you're not wanting to do what I did basically, this handle is kind of cheesy. It looks cool, and if you like this straight handle, I mean, go for it. But I tried. I didn't get it. I don't think I burnt it. But I tried it about as hard as I could. Like I've talked about, the MK9 was the same way. And I'm pretty sure they spin free enough. Definitely not bearings in there. And I'm pretty sure they're made on, and these are just caps are glued on. They don't even unscrew, which probably leads me to believe that you can't unscrew the, change the corks off. So that's just a kind of, that's where it is. Which I don't plan on using it anyway. But if it would have been a cool one, I was actually planning on selling it, I'll be honest. But just in case you're wondering what you're left with, I don't think that it's enough green to really, for me, I guess, like if you're a Corrado fan, if you like the looks of a Corrado, that's kind of Corrado looking, but if you do away with all of that, so which is simple by tossing this handle away, of course you could always add a little subtle, is that a subtle green? No. You could always toss that handle, slap on something else, and just, I guess, picture. You could do it two ways. You could just simply paint that black, Sharpie it black, or what I'm going to do, I think what I'm going to do, I may just Sharpie it black and leave this thing blacked out. This may be the Black Wolf, not the Silver Fox. I may change the name to the Black Wolf, but I'll get done with it. It's got the heavier gear, brass gear, which is out there, and it still feels heavy. They didn't even have a gear in it yet. This still feels about as heavy as a LingL. Still makes a good looking reel. I mean, just the shape of that. But don't you guys think that if any of them look like a Steez, it would be this guy right here. All black. So anyway, still up in the air. Not sure if I want to de-anodize, because what my plan was, but I'd have to, I don't know, I guess I could use that drag star, was basically pop this off, that off. I was actually going to de-anodize the spool, and I still may, just make it a shiny silver. My plan was to, because it'll go better on that 13 fishing rod with some silver on it. And then just call it the, you know what I am going to do though? See that right there? It'll look better on that reel. Just will. Just will. And that's black. So I may go all stealth. Black this thing completely out. It'll still go good on 13 fishing rod because it's black and silver. But then this will be all black. And that one chunk of gold would actually look better on this reel. I think. I don't know. I got a lot of stuff I can't do, whatever. Now here's a question. As I for sure get out of here, I'm going to keep it under 40 minutes. Which reel looks better now? That's a toss-up. I kind of was comparing these the other day, and I'm like, I don't know which one I think actually looks better. They look very close, don't they? Like they just have similar looks because of silver and the gold. But this is definitely my favorite reel at the moment. But I think the looks department, I call them like the same, close. I think I like, and it's probably because I just slapped it together. Tomorrow may be different. I think I like the looks of this one way better. Because if you heard me talk, the whole TD Ito M103, that's, I was kind of had that in the back of my head like, you know, it just needs a purple something somewhere. Like maybe they got purple. I've got a couple of purple drag stars. I could slap a purple one on there and just see what it looks like. And then if I, especially I use on this rod does have a little bit of purple right there. But that big, those purple drag stars may be too much. If you remember right, the TD Ito has just, I think it's just like this part would be purple. That's the freaking line. I got the, wherever it's at, I got the line caught. Yeah, it's sticking just, there we go. Oh, I did want to talk about that, and I want to check these other ones. Then I'm for sure out of here. I know all my videos end up way over. I want to keep this one 30 minutes. Let me take this spool out. Now, technically, I would have to change a lot of crap. That's too far. That's going too far. That's too nuts. That's going too nuts. I don't even have a side plate that fits in there right now. That's too crazy. That's too many different colors. But I wanted to compare these because I think they're made the same way. And if you guys remember in the tolerance videos, I was trying to compare, and I was like, well, it kind of goes in, but it kind of doesn't. And hopefully it'll show up, because I've never really shown a true close-up of this spool. If you guys can make out, there's like another final lip. Can you guys see that? So I think the LingL tolerances are better for sure than the Dark Wolf Ultra, and I think they may be as good as any reel out there. Because if you see me test casting the trout magnet with this, the 2-pound test, it would feel that catchy noise like you just heard with this line. But I never had to take the spool out. Like I could just, I could pull out the backlash and it never went in. And if you really look, there's that extra little lip. You can kind of make it out, see the fine line, but there's like another little, so they kind of were smart. They made that little bitty lip to where that's your final to not let line go through. Well, when you put this in, the real housing frame actually goes over a little bit. So when you're glancing, trying to look in there and you're feeding it line, sometimes it'll look like the line will go in. But I think that lip's what's saving it. And when I was looking on these, look on this one. Oh boy, focus. They have the same deal. So I think they're made very well. If you guys see what I'm talking about, some of these are easier to see than others, but this red one's pretty easy. It's got that extra little, so the spool tolerances I think are very good on all these LingL variants. Well, as you can tell, I've got two LingLs and then these here now. So I definitely like them, right? I think they're pretty good, pretty legit. Yeah, I see on that black one. So they all have that same thing going on, how they're made, which lets them, even this even this spool. Try to hold it at an angle right there. See that extra little lip. So I'm not 100% on this, but I think it's down to even 2 pound, which there's a lot of reels. I think even the Shimano Aldebaran and stuff, 2 pound will get back in there. And like I said, in that cast testing, now it wasn't on this frame with that spool, but this original LingL, I'll try to show you on it. When you're first looking, if you can see how far, like see how just a little bit of that sticks out from under the frame and see how much there is of it. So it's kind of a little bit of an overhang, and that's why the line will get there and you'll hear it making that, it's a dragging sound because it's up in there, but it's not, that little lip keeps it from going in and where you got to take the whole spool apart. So I think that's a plus on these reels. And I definitely a fan. I'm definitely a fan of this one, the color now. Awesome. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. 42 minutes. Thanks for watching. There will be more on this reel. I will get it out, casting, messing around, just to make sure that there's no tolerance issues on this frame, which I hope not, because I don't want to have to send it back again. If you guys remember right, I took this one, took forever, because I got the left-handed wrong. And that's LT Fishing Store. You guys keep track. That's one strike against LT Fishing Store. I'm not saying him, one of his employees, somebody sent me a left-handed instead of a right. So that's strike one, but I've done quite a bit of business so far. Plan to continue to do business with him. But I do keep track of my strikes. I don't keep track of my fish unless I'm winning. And then if I'm losing, we're not counting. Nobody's counting, Susan. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you liked this video. Like this reel. If you did, hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to Bass and Bonsai, you're just watching this video and you're like, who is this guy? Charlie Hicklin. Damn glad to meet you. All right, get out of here. Go Bass and Bonsai, and whatever you do, make sure you have fun doing it.